So what's going on now is there is a scandal that is rocking higher education, and it's that parents bribe their children's way into elite universities. And we're seeing that here, where we are right now at USC. We're seeing it implicated at Georgetown, where I currently teach. And we're seeing it actually in a number of different universities across the country. And it's really rocked the way we think about how admissions is gained. What captured a lot of people's imagination about this admissions scandal is that it's a story of corruption, and it is, but it's also a story of the lengths to which families will go to ensure access to elite universities for their children. And that is actually a story that has played out in South Korea for a while. Ordinary people and even rich people care where their children go to university. And this has been happening in Korea already for some time. I mean, Koreans believe that where you go to college really matters. So that's why students will spend a lifetime preparing for this one national examination that will determine where they get in. They spend a lifetime in cram schools and other forms of education, like study abroad opportunities and whatnot. They basically mold themselves to be, the perfect specimen for entrance into an elite college, because it matters where you go to college for the rest of your life. I mean, there's one definition of success, and there's only really one way to attain it, through your college. So in South Korea, people are well aware of this problem. There's a common name for it. It's called education fever. And there are a number of policies that have been put in place to help lessen education fever, make it less competitive, more equitable. But ultimately, a lot of things have been tried and nothing really has worked. Americans are becoming more like Koreans in the way they approach education. In America, there are over 5,000 colleges and universities, but everyone wants to go to the top 50 or 100. It shows that people are starting to think that there's only one way to succeed, and that is through where you go to college, and there isn't room to deviate from that. So, you see this from, the rich Manhattan parents jostling to get their kids into specific preschools, up to, the millionaire actors who bribe their children's way into places like USC and elsewhere. Yeah, well, I think it's amazing that you actually have two things going on in the US, and they're contradictory and yet they're not. So on one hand, you have these very elite schools who have been getting a record number of applications. They have the smallest acceptance rates than they've ever had before. And on the other hand, you have these lesser known schools in various places across the country that don't have enough students and are actually closing down. And you have this weird paradox, because you have all these students thinking that there's really only one acceptable place to go to college, and it's in these elite schools. So it means homogenization, not too dissimilar from what we're seeing in Korea today. What is education for? And is it for the creation of an educated democratic society, or is it simply just to get a better job? And I think that question in America is starting to be raised, and we're seeing that with the admission scandal, the extreme competition starting earlier for admission into these elite colleges and universities. And it's mirroring what we have seen in South Korea. You have students who've been preparing their whole lives to go to college by studying for this one exam. The National Entrance Exam Day is called the Day of Silence because it's more than the SAT. The entire country shuts down. The airport shuts down, businesses shut down, because it's taken so seriously because of what it means. I think for a long time in the US, we've believed that there are second chances, that there are a multitude of ways to be successful. You can go to college, of course. You can drop out of college. You can be a late bloomer. You can go to any number of colleges, but we're actually seeing that change. We're losing a lot of the diversity that we're seeing in the US, which has actually made the US quite special and unique. And that, this is perhaps a warning sign of some symptoms that we can already see happening in South Korea today.